Welcome to the Home Building Hub, your essential podcast guide to building your new home. Hosted by industry experts Colin Bischoff and Darren Brennan, this conversational podcast will help better educate you about all things new home building so you can avoid costly mistakes and enjoy your building experience to the fullest, no matter which home builder you choose.
Hi there, folks. Welcome to the Home Building Hub. You are with Colin and co-host Darren Brennan, as always. In this episode, Darren, it is going to be short, it's going to be sharp, it's going to be valuable because sometimes people are struggling with the budget. It's a little bit tight. What we want to do is we want to give you the top 10 items you can do later so you don't have to pay for them up front as part of the build. Right. So I think if you're on a tight budget, this would be quite helpful for you, something that we've been through quite a number of times, Darren, over our years with clients. So it helps them get into the house, right? And then they can save up during the build and whatnot for the balance of those items. So
Absolutely.
How are you today, buddy? Good?
Okay, great. Yeah, looking forward to this short, sharp episode. So, mate, let's rip straight in, eh? Reckon we can cut to the chase and see if we can fly through this one. Be something that people can listen to between jumping in the car and getting to the grocery store. That's how we want it today.
Nice and quick. Right. Couple of songs long. Yep. Beautiful. That's what we used to say once upon a time in telemarketing. We used to say it's only a couple of songs away from your house, you know.
There you go. Perfect.
Instead of the 10-minute drive. That's when songs were longer than 2 minutes, though, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Sharing the age a little bit there. But anyway, let's rock and roll. So the common items, we've got a top 10 for you. So it's basically a way for you to save some money in your build quote and contract. So you can get that underway. Builder can build your house and then you can then, as we said, save some money during the build and after to get some of these items that maybe not essential. Some will be, before others, but definitely something that we've seen happen talking to clients directly. And that's the difference between getting a house and not in these cases, Darren. So I'll go first three and then you can hit up the balance. So
I'll just say on one real quick bit there. Another reason why people might want to do these after is that the builder might not be able to supply that specific item that you're after. You may say, we really want this brand or this whatever. They don't have an agreement with them. So you do it afterwards. The other reason that we get a lot of people wanting to do it afterwards is they can often be tradies or family members of tradie, and they'd rather just have them do that work for them, save them a few bucks, right? And away they go. But hit us with the number one, mate. Let's go.
Number one, I think, is blinds, Darren. That's certainly one that you can get. Some people can do themselves, but you can get someone in to do after handover. Don't leave the newspaper in the window for too long, but you can get some cheap ones from Kmart to get you by or whatever in the opening months of when you post handover and go from there. So that'll be number one, blinds.
Cool.
Number two is actually cooling, Darren. So you'll see most builders these days, and we're about to move, I guess, a lot in due course to all electric and things like that. But right now, as it stands, ducted heating is pretty much a no-brainer as a standard inclusion. But some builders do, some builders don't include cooling. Might be mostly a split system. Some might actually have refrigerated. It's a little bit more rare. However, it's something that you don't need as part of your build and your build contract. It's something you can live for 3 months, 6 months, even a year. Get through one summer without it. Not the end of the get a portable one. Not the end of the day. If you need to, remember we're talking to people. You out there, your budget's really tight. This is the difference between you getting into your house and not building a house at all. So cooling something that I've done it before myself, Darren. Added on a couple of splits through the home. It was relatively cheap. It was nice, quick, and easy. They just connected the splits and off they went. So that's definitely number two on the list.
We spoke about on the episode 2 episodes ago about some of that stuff leading up to your colour studio appointment is if you're not going to do it but you just want the power there for it, just arrange power to be put in that place, right? So you can have the power ready to go, makes it even easier. They're not dragging wires through the roof. They can connect up and set that up really quickly for you, a split system on the outside wall. So it's something you can really do easily.
Yep, that's a good point. Number three, concrete driveways and paths. I think, again, like you said, if you know someone who can do that, then that's something you can save a few dollars on. Again, it's a decent cost. It's usually a standard inclusion for most part, or at the very least part of a promotion these days, concrete driveways and access through to the porch. paths around are not necessarily an inclusion that are standard, but it's definitely one that can save you a few dollars from that contract. But there will be a lot of the time, Darren, there might be a requirement that you have to have a driveway installed at a certain
absolutely.
time frame and things like that. So you must ask your sales consultant that. But yeah, it's one way, potential way to save a few dollars as well. Yep.
Yeah, indeed. We've got down here fencing and landscaping, Cole. So again, some builders include it, others don't, but it is something that you can do yourself. And again, you can landscape a whole garden, right, for a couple of $1,000 yourself probably, and maybe even less. Or you could have a landscaper come in and do it for a couple of $100,000 if you wanted the Rolls Royce of landscaping. So there's a budget, something in there for everyone. But it is certainly one that you can save some money on. You can buy much smaller plants. They will grow, for example. Likewise with your fencing, if you're happy to work with your neighbour and share that fencing cost, which they need to do, then it's going to be quicker and easier than the builder just saying, I'm charging you a full share and you're going to pay for the whole fence, and then you have to have that, argument. You've already paid for that. It just makes it more difficult. Another one would be Flyscreens and flywire doors. Again, some builders include them, some don't. But if they're not included, you might want to just wait. You might not want them just yet. You might be happy to. You might want a particular style of door that, your builder may not be able to get you. So again, it is something you can put off and do at a later date. They're not always expensive. So again, you might rather not have that on your mortgage. So that's a good one. Number 6 would be electrical items. So items like downlights and power points. We often see people do them later, right? And I've seen that a lot. I've done it myself previously. We've had an electrician come in and install that. Again, could be a good way to save a few dollars along the way, or just get the things done once you know how you're living in that home, right? You've sussed it out and said, well, it's a bit dark here, or I'd rather this, or I need a PowerPoint there, rather than putting 100 PowerPoints in and finding you only need 5. So it could be a way to look at it. Flooring is another one, Cole. So number 7 would be flooring. And again, we see flooring often done by people after handover if they've got a specific requirement, more so than if they're trying to save money. But again, you can shop around. You may well be able to save a few dollars if you're heading down that path. One I love, and I've done it myself, is painting feature walls, and it allows you to add a personal touch to the home. I'm not a great tradie, mate, I'll be fair, but I'm pretty good at painting a wall, pretty good at getting the masking tape out. Take your time, do that. If you want me to build a kitchen, I'm not the guy for the job. Just full stop. I can't do that. But geez, I can paint a wall all right. So, pretty simple task. Mask it up really well, the edges, and paint a feature wall. And you'll feel like you've had real input into your home when you do it too. I think it's one of the cool things you can do. Be careful not to spill paint on the new carpet and stuff though too, yeah.
Sounds like your next career move, Darren. Really, really spruiking the old
Absolutely
Darren's
no chance at all. No chance whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'll go become a garbologist before I do that, I reckon. But I can paint walls. I'm okay at it. It's not going to be my next job. Number 9, and I saw this recently on a house, and that's why we added it to the list, Cole. I went through a really, really big home. In fact, it was a nearly 70 square home that a customer built, and in the kitchen had laminate bench tops, and I'm like, wow, laminate the kitchen in a 70 square, like, big bopper. But these guys, they wanted to do their own stone bench tops after handover, so they did laminate, going to remove them and put in their own stone bench tops. So again, it's something that clearly they had a certain thing that they wanted, and they were happy to take a laminate in the interim so they could have the stone of their choice installed after. And maybe number 10, Cole, would be appliances. And again, it's a common request. People, may have specific requirements, or they might work for one of the companies, the Good Guys, or one of these sort of places that they can get a really good price on a really good product that they really want to use, and maybe the builder can't supply or supply at the same price. A couple of things to bear in mind with that. If you're going to do your own appliances, there are some regulatory requirements, so just talk to your builder about that, number 1. Number 2, you may need the bench top, for example, cut in a certain place to be a certain size. So you've got to specify that to them up front. Don't assume that all cooktops will fit in the same hole, right? Because you might end up with a cooktop that falls through the hole, unfortunately. So talk to your builder about how they can, if they can accommodate that for you. But there's some of the key items there, I guess, mate.
Nice.
Would there be any bits and pieces that fall in favour, or any thing in that space? What are your thoughts?
No, I think, look, naming 10's good. Just reminding people that, like, this is not the preferred path to rip things out of a quote, because then you're going to have to do them later. But if you are a person who wants to build a house and you're so close budget-wise, these are the 10 items you can seriously look at and take a few out to get you that home built. There are some builders I've seen, Darren, over the journey advertise a couple of, actually, I think Metricon was the one that I'm thinking of, advertised like 2 homes available at heavily discounted price, and that stock standard home. A stock standard home these days is bloody amazing, right? It's really good already, and great. I'd love to have all these upgrades, but at the end of the day, if your budget's that tight and it's the difference between getting a house and not, take it. Get the good promo, rock and roll forward, and do some of these things later. So, no, I think the list is pretty good, Des. Yeah.
I think there's also items called, for example, you can't raise your ceiling heights later, but you can put cooling in. And the raised ceiling height and the cooling might be the same cost, and you can only afford one. So I'd do the raised ceiling,
100%.
and come back later and do the cooling later. So think about items like that. Would be a great example where you go, which one's more important? Raise the ceilings.
Yeah.
Cooling can be done later. Happy
Talk
days.
to your consultant about it, because the reality is they're the ones who present the quote, and then you'll be like, oh, that's a bit over budget. Can you help me bring that down somehow, some way? And they will do their absolute best to do that for you, because you won't be the only one. In fact, most people have a quote that's higher than what they can afford up front. It's we've discussed it many times, like needs over wants, and you got to sacrifice at something at some point. It's the way it goes. So, what about the just to wrap this up, Daz, tell me about the pros of the list that we've done, the top 10 there, I might knock on ahead a couple of the constraints. Yeah,
for sure. I think number one, you can save some money if you do it yourself. Potentially, you could choose specific items that the builder might not be able to supply. So you might have a certain want or need that says, I want this, great. Builder can't get it. Do it yourself after handover, no worries. I feel like some people really want to have that control and a bit of input into the home. And, I've watched people do that. It's like, nah, I just love to lay my own flooring. I love the experience of that. It's something I want to do. I had someone do it previously on another home. I just want to get on that path. Fantastic. We want to encourage that. The other part that I like is you don't have to have this. If you do it after and you fund that in cash, out of your bank, whatever, it doesn't form part of your mortgage, right? And you're not paying it off over the next 30 years. Pretty much, if you spent $10,000 on something that wasn't in your building contract, that wasn't in your mortgage, that 10 grand, if it was mortgage, you'd probably end up paying back somewhere near 30, right? By the time you paid it off, it's about 3 times nearly. So, you're saving significantly, in terms of long term, if you can have stuff that you will pay more off your loan up front, whatever it is, however you're going to do it. But if it's not in the loan, you're going to save some significant money that way as well. So how about the cons, Colin?
Yes, there are some constraints, I believe. So for me, I suppose we offer full turnkey. So for me, we obviously push that to clients, say like it's all in, it's all inclusive, rah, rah, rah. So that's great, fantastic. But for those in a bind, I believe the top 10 list we've given is actually pretty good, Darren, and it is a way to get people into a house, as I keep saying. But some of the things that you can be met with to challenge a little bit, arranging the work with the trades and the suppliers, it doesn't always go to plan. Availability of trades and what the rates are. So if you buy it as part of the contract today, you're buying it for today. The price that the builder's got today and the price the builder's got through procurement is probably going to be pretty competitive. And then if you wait till the house is built 9-12 months later, and then you wait another 3 months to do the thing, whatever it is, it can, you're going to get charged the rates at that time. So that's one thing that can sort of bite you somewhat if you're not doing enough of a comparison. Trades, sometimes some builders will let you, Darren, install some things and do some things during the construction. I will note that that's not as common these days because of occupational health and safety, because of a whole range of reasons. And actually, the truth is, having a trade that's not vetted by the builder just slows everything down. A good builder will have a really good system, for efficiencies, and they'll know who's doing what and when and how and schedule it all out. It doesn't always go to plan, but they know, how to go left and right. But then there's some guy who's brand new, doesn't know anyone, and that can sort of change and delay a little bit. And any damage they potentially could do, Darren, that's something to be mindful of. That won't be the builder coughing up for that. And it could void any part of a warranty as a result as well. So there's a few things that I think that need to be discussed and considered as you knock through that sort of list there. Yep.
Sure. I think in the end, though, what this episode's about is if you're wanting to save a few bucks, probably there are options and ways to do it.
Yep.
Refer to the list. It's a pretty cool way to think about it. Again, some builders include absolutely everything, others don't. So it's just working with what you've got in front of you, understanding what that can be, and if it suits you and that's going to be of benefit to you and you're happy with that benefit, then proceed down that path and look at doing some stuff yourself after handover. So
yeah, no, I agree. It's not about recommendations one way or another. It's just putting all the cards on the table for people, Darren. That's what this whole podcast is about. So hopefully it helps those that it's relevant to, provides value, and that's all that matters. Yeah.
I reckon we're a bit longer than the quick short drive to the supermarket, but we're about 3 songs long, Cole. So I think we wrap it up there. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate you listening. Let you do the final bits, Cole. Tell us about the website, etc., and we're all done.
Yes. So if you like what you're listening to, like what you're watching, 5-star review, please. That'd be fantastic on the platform you're on. And of course, any questions, topic ideas, any feedback, any way to bump the microphone again, Darren, I'm absolutely nailing that. Jump on the homebuildinghub.com.au website, go to contact us and go from there. So until next time, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks. See ya.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Home Building Hub. As part of the podcast, we have to be a little careful to cover ourselves on a legal standpoint. So we do have a disclaimer. Whilst we're all about providing value to you, this podcast should not be considered legal or financial advice. It does contain general information only, and you should seek out independent professional advice on your own personal situation before you make any legal or financial decisions.
1,